I've talked a little bit about chromatic black, and in this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you why I prefer to mix my own black rather than using blacks out of the tube. Now, this is a black that came with a set, and so I have it laying around. It is useful for things such as value studies, but I personally don't tend to use black in my everyday normal painting. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to compare both an ivory black, which is a very common black that artists like to use, with my chromatic black. So the first thing that I have here on my palette is my ivory black, and then next to it I'm placing my raw umber, and then I will next to that place my ultramarine blue, and I'm going to be combining those two colors to create my chromatic black. But first I'm going to demonstrate with my ivory black, which is again over on the left. And I'm going to basically create a value scale, just a 3-step value scale with each of these different blacks. So I'm going to also use a little bit of titanium white here to then mix a medium and light value for the ivory black. And so we can see that we get some nice increments of gray here with the ivory black. So now I'm going to mix my raw umber and my ultramarine blue. And of course, the local value of this combination is very, very dark. So it's difficult to see if I have enough of each color because I really want to try my best to get to a nice middle neutral gray. But I'm going to do something with my chromatic black a little bit different than I did with my ivory black. And that is, I'm going to create different temperatures of this black. So I can create a cool black by adding more of my ultramarine blue. I can add more of my raw umber to get a warmer black. And then of course I can always get pretty close to just your standard black out of the tube by mixing them in equal proportions. So I actually got lucky and I did pretty well. I think that this is actually a pretty nice middle gray here. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of divide this up and add a little bit of white so I get those 3 value steps with this nice middle gray with the chromatic black, and you can see it's very close to what I was able to achieve with the ivory black. But now I'm going to further divide these. And so over on the left side, I'm going to mix a cool black, and then on the right, I'll have a warmer black. So now I've got these divided into 3 different columns, and oh, I was wrong. Actually, over on the left is going to be my warm black. So I've added some of that raw umber into that mix, adding it into that middle value as well. Probably have to add some white to this because the value got reduced quite a bit when I added that. We'll just go ahead and add some more of that raw umber to the lighter value as well. All right, so then I'm going to basically do the same thing in that column over on the right. I'll just be adding more ultramarine blue into each mix rather than more of the raw umber. So this way I will have a much cooler black for this column. And then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of swatch these over right next to that ivory black. Again, with the darker values, it's really difficult to actually see any difference. But then as we move down, you can see that this is a much warmer black. And now I'll move over to the next one. This is my neutral medium black. So you can see that's very close to what I achieved with that ivory black out of the tube. And then, of course, last is my cool black. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at these. Again, a little bit of wobbling here with the camera. All right, so let's get that into focus. And you can really see that by mixing my own black, I just have a lot more control over the temperature of my black, and I can push it whichever way I might happen to need it. It's not very often that I really need a truly neutral black or gray, and so I find it very useful just to mix my own black with these very common colors and to be able to have a little bit more control over it. And I find it a little bit more interesting as well. But of course, you should feel free to do whatever feels best for you.